Hello, Vivid Earth Tribe. I wanted to bring you a quick update for the week, a quick intel update. Um, Yesterday, my update was very short. I wasn't feeling that well because I was doing a massive detox and I was starting to feel a little bit flimsy towards the afternoon. So I thought I'd just bring you another update today with some outstanding details that I didn't update you on yesterday. So it was obviously the Queen Bee's funeral yesterday. Interesting comms around that. I think a lot of people expect some things to go down. My personal feeling is we won't know about anything right now. Everything is happening in secret. Secret military sting underway, tribunals, all of that. We're not going to know about it now. We'll know about it afterwards, and it's going to be on replay. So we will see everything that went down in those tribunals. Um, but basically, that was interesting. Oh, I've got a little bug, sorry. Her casket was lowered exactly at 4:49 p.m. And Q did a drop. Ooh, I shouldn't say the name, but anyway, did a drop like I think 3 years ago, saying exactly that. And they posted a watch with the time 4:49. Um, that was so interesting. Also, it adds up to 17, which is really interesting. There's so many comms around 17 at the moment. It's not even funny. So I think, those little military breadcrumbs that are being dropped for us right now is happening for a reason. They want people not to lose hope. They know that there will be truthers decoding that and giving that message over to the people without revealing too much, just really letting people know not to worry, that things are happening behind the scenes. So that's very interesting. Also, what was really interesting is the high number of military ships around the UK and Europe as of yesterday. You look at a world map, there's you can track actually all the military ships around the world. And there's like a big red cluster around the UK and then, dotting sort of over to the EU as well, which is really interesting. And obviously, London City, Central City, had a no-fly zone as well yesterday. So all of these things are super interesting because we've got to bear in mind that 800 key elites were attending this funeral. So it's kind of an ideal moment if you wanted to kind of um, secure um, certain people that you may have previously not been able to, then something like this would be an ideal opportunity. So keep that in mind. We'll see what transpires. The truth will come out, and we'll see if indeed things pan out the way that a lot of us are suspecting it is. So again, things are going to be dropped little bits by little bits because, you know, it's a very sensitive operation. I said this again. The higher ups, I believe, already been taken out. It's now the lower downs that are still in powerful positions that need to be taken out. You just have to look at the number of CEOs that resigned over the last 2 years, something like 200 CEOs of major corporations. What does that tell you? So there's already an infiltration for the good in many of those corporations. All the food factories that burned down and got destroyed over the past 18 months. I mean, these things are not coincidence. You know, this thing goes very deep. The corruption and the deception and just the nefarious activities go very, very deep into across all major corporations. I wouldn't say all, but most, to be honest. All of the big FMCG, pharmaceutical, big tech, big agro, big media, all of these big corporations. And we know that most of these corporations are predominantly owned by BlackRock. And what some people don't know is that BlackRock is pretty much owned by Vanguard as well. And then, of course, we know who owns that, the Rockefeller guys. So this is a major global operation. You've got to take down those corporates, not take down, but basically reset them as you go about this global operation, intel operation and military operation that's being rolled out. And then I believe in time, 3 cities, basically foreign-owned cities, will be going away as well, or maybe rebranded or repositioned. And those are Washington, D.C. We know that it's not owned. It's not even a state in the U.S. It's foreign-owned. I think it's owned by the Crown or one of the corporations, but basically by the Crown. And then London City as well, owned by, or City of London, which is a completely independent entity, is also owned by a foreign entity. And then also the Vatican, also a city on its own, owned by foreign entities. And then I believe there's a number of other cities that are going to be reset as well, something like 34. So they're really doing a major cleanup operation. And interestingly, 34 cities basically adds up to 17 times 2. And 17 apparently means good in Hebrew, which is really interesting. So that's obviously the name and the nickname used for that operation. So that's very fitting. So nothing is by accident. The names they choose, the numbers they choose, the dates they choose, nothing by accident. I mean, we all know this is going to be a big week. I believe starting with tomorrow, we're going to see some things going down. And I failed to mention, somebody reminded me that we've also got the equinox, the spring equinox of the southern hemisphere and the autumn equinox for the northern hemisphere on the 22nd of September, and then a new moon on the 23rd. We've got the new year starting in the Hebrew calendar. We've got, obviously the 24th has been predicted by many people as a major global event that's going to go down. An interesting 24th September 2022 also adds up to 666, so that may be an indicator why there's a false flag planned for that day. But again, I wouldn't worry. I would recommend, if you can, maybe stay home, lie low for that weekend, especially if you are in the US and possibly Germany as well. But honestly, I don't think there's need to panic, and it won't do us any good. We need to keep our vibrations high. And then, of course, Starlink satellites have now done a complete rollout globally, including Antarctica, and something like, I think, 3,347 Starlink satellites now around the world. And this has been said to house the quantum financial system, which is not only going to be used for the financial system globally and the whole replacing basically the traditional banking system that we know, but also controlling many other things like travel. And I don't believe this is going to happen immediately. It may happen in a few years' time. It's going to take time for everything to roll out. The quantum system is being tested globally in many countries right now. I don't know how far they are with that beta testing, but we know it's underway. But in future, it will be used for travel as well. So we won't need things like visas anymore. We'll be able to travel freely with this system, and they will control criminal elements with this system as well. So they may be branded and flagged, if you want, for a better word. So they can't travel over certain borders, but normal people will finally be able to travel visa-free. Imagine that. I mean, it doesn't mean much for the Americans and those in the EU, but for most of the other countries, especially those in Africa like ourselves, South Africa, we can't go anywhere without a visa, and it's very cumbersome, and it takes a lot of time. You have to have money in your account. The visa costs you money, and it's just a terrible process, to be honest. And how amazing would it be not to be able to need that anymore? I think eventually I've been told that we're going to be the world's going to be divided into zones, and there'll be leaders or guardians appointed for each zone. So we won't need all these presidents anymore, and leadership will look a lot different as well. But it's going to take time for that aspect of it to roll out. In the meantime, I believe that a lot of the presidents and heads of states that you see right now are either controlled, or they're puppets, or they are they're basically controlled by the white hats. A lot of them, most of them, like in the UK, for example, Liz Truss. I believe she is now kind of acting on behalf of the white hats. She may not always have been, but I think she had no choice. So she is acting out a plan. But eventually, those positions will go away because they've been abused, and we have far too many government officials in our countries that we essentially have to pay for. So the whole system has to come down. It's no longer working. It's outdated. It's corrupt. Anyway, I've got to watch what I say because I got a strike on my channel for the interview with Dr. Scott Young. Basically because we said that there was certain nefarious behavior around that process where we all I don't know what words I can say or not, but where we vote in the US, especially, that it wasn't true and lawful, shall we say. So apparently that's not allowed. It's called misinformation. We shall see. I'm very much looking forward to going back to them very soon and telling them in their face that this wasn't misinformation. These were facts. So, yeah. So anyway, I've got to watch what I say. But in case I do disappear off this channel, please find me on Rumble. I will tag the link below, and please join me on Telegram to stay updated daily on the latest intel, on the latest news. I share great information from trusted, credible sources and channels and truthers on that platform on Telegram. So yeah, join the channel. I'll leave the link in the description if you want daily updates, and that will be the best place to find me in future. So I believe this whole Starlink system really is about to bring abundance to everyone. It's going to be replacing what we know now as our failed internet system, and it will be foolproof. No one will be able to tamper with it. It's like backed by blockchain. And it's not even, I think the servers are not even going to be hosted here on the planet, from what I've heard. So it should be completely secure. And during this process of what is going to go down in the next couple of weeks, we may experience martial law being implemented and ruling, and it may seem very oppressive and frightening, but it is actually going to be for the better, just to keep things stable until new systems can be implemented. So you probably will see that roll out, and there's still a lot of talk about this date of the 24th of September. So I do believe something big is going to happen, whether it's going to be a false flag, as I said, or a big scary event, which I think is very likely in the US. Or if something like that is intercepted, it may lead to something else, like a EBS or arrests or QFS being introduced. So definitely something big is going to go down. And I think all of us that have been patiently waiting for something to happen is very excited about that. And we're manifesting definitely some positive timelines, shifts for this time and that date and moving forward. So I don't believe we have to be afraid. And I definitely don't advise anyone to be afraid. The best thing that we can do right now is to claim our sovereignty. And I keep saying this, and I know that it's hard to understand what that means, but what that means, small steps, not one big step. Starting to take small steps towards your sovereignty and your freedom every day and everything that you do, and think about everything that you do and how you go about your day. And even if it is just starting to recognize what doesn't make sense and what seems just against the natural law of the planet and the universe at large, starting to notice what doesn't make sense, what doesn't add up. I think claiming your sovereignty in your heart and your mind is where it all starts. So even before you take any action, it's really realizing what that really means to you. And it's really just to fully stand in your own integrity. And, if you are somebody that want the best for everyone around you, you have a right to claim your sovereignty and live, on a planet where you were born in, and according to natural law. Everyone has that birthright. We are all children of the universe, and you have a divine right to freedom. So start working on manifesting that within your soul, and I believe that's where it all starts. What else can I tell you? I think the cabal is going to tell us that the central bank digital currency (CBDC) is going to be rolled out, and I think the White House has already spoken about it. But that's just a front. What they are really looking to, or what they're really putting in place currently, is the quantum financial system. And basically, once that happens, there'll be no need for banks, not in the traditional sense anyway. We'll be able to transact directly with other people, not have the banks as the middleman. They won't take the commission. They won't take 3-4 days. There's no SWIFT system. All of that, all of those things will fall away. How incredible would that be? So I believe, all the currency funds will also be managed on the Starlink system. It's basically a system of connectivity to all and everything: banking, boating, medical, travel. So it's not just the financial system that will be using that. And all countries have had to sign in, basically. So, imagine quantum passports. Wouldn't that be a pleasure? The aspect of universal income, somebody did ask that in the comments on one of the videos, and what's going to happen on that. I do believe there's going to be a certain basic universal income for the poor, but it will only be temporary because obviously they need to be helped through this process. But eventually, everyone will have enough. Everyone will be abundant. Every country will be abundant. There'll be no third world or poor countries, because most of those countries are so rich in resources, and we know exactly why they are as poor as they are. And unfortunately, I'd say 99% of those countries have been colonized at some point by the crown, and even though some of them are so-called free and independent, behind the scenes they're still ruled by the crown, as exactly the example with South Africa and many other countries, and not just the third world ones, as we know. So, but in this new era, all countries will become abundant and there will be no lack, so everyone will have enough. And that's basically going to be changing the whole value system on the planet, because we've lived in such a we've lived in the grip of lack. There's never enough. We have to grab this piece before somebody else does, and there isn't enough for everyone. And if I win, you lose, and vice versa. And it's survival of the fittest. And all these concepts are going to go away. Imagine that. And I can truly see it and feel it in my bones. And I'm so excited about that. And I'm truly hoping that in the next 2 years, we will be fully integrated into that new system and mindset, because it really is a mindset, this deep ingrained consciousness of not having enough is really intergenerational. So it's also going to be, leaving a lot of previous programming behind, healing a lot of ancestral wounds of suffering and lack and just not having enough. So it will probably be a process, but I think once that mindset and once that system is unleashed onto the planet, we will hopefully quantum leap forward and be able to jump out of that karmic cycle, and we will just see a whole different way of interacting with other humans. How magical. I want to see if there's anything else I need to tell you. Oh, interestingly, also, King Charles was ordered today to appear before the International Tribunal over the death of those Canadian Native children that went missing under the Queen's watch many years ago, something like almost 30 years ago. 10 Canadian Native children went missing. They went for a picnic with the Queen and a husband, and they never returned. And I think they did find the remains of one of the kids, but not all of them. So that case has been reopened, and King Charles was ordered to appear before this international tribunal. And then interestingly, also, I believe there are a couple of third world countries that have already expressed their interest to, let's just say, get out of the rule of the monarchy. I will tell you which countries those are when I can find them. So many things now. Jamaica, Antigua, and Barbuda. I think it's Barbados. So they want to cut ties with the British monarch, and I think with the Queen's passing, it was a huge marker, and a lot of countries are going to follow suit. And also, I believe King Charles's reign is going to be very limited. It's not going to last long, and they're going to do away with this royalty or this monarchy system of ruling, because there's no real reason they should be in charge. I mean, why? We the people didn't vote for them to be in charge. Surely, it's a very outdated system. It's completely out of touch with life in the 22nd century. Is it 22nd? Anyway, it's out of date. So I believe that whole system is going to go away. And then just a little tidbit I read somewhere, and this is actually not a joke, but King Charles is related to Vlad Dracula. Yeah, they are actually, that's a real person, and he is related to that entity. So what does that tell you? And then also, I shared on my Telegram channel, there was a video of Camilla and King Charles at the funeral, and they did a really bad job because they sort of zoomed in on Camilla's neck, and you could actually see the edge of the mask. Literally, there's not even a question about that. It's a video, and you can verify that, and you can actually see the edge of her mask, the silicone mask. So it's not really her, and I don't believe that's Charles either. He's changed shape so many different times. No one can go from fat to thin and back to fat and then kind of different features that quickly. So we know it's all a movie, and I know that all of you know, but it's still interesting and nice to have whatever giggle every now and again. And I think they're making it very obvious now, the white hats. They're really, really taking the piss out of these people because number one, just really like embarrassing them. Number two, giving us hope. As I said before, um, they know the truthers are going to pick up on that in like no time and distribute that out to the rest of the people. So that's just red pilling more and more people, which really helps because we need to red pill many, many more people, so that when the truth hits the masses, it won't have such a bad impact. I think, yeah, it's growing and growing every day. I mean, Charles was like heckled by people in the crowd yesterday saying we don't have money to pay for our electricity or our heating, but you having $1 billion event here or whatever that is, shaking people's hands, so fake. And then and then Justin Trudeau, I think, is on his way out as well. I mean, on Twitter there was trending. I can't remember what it is. Trudeau is gone or something like that. But literally, it trended on Twitter yesterday. Over 600,000 people used that hashtag, and then Twitter took the it down. And then some people got really upset. Why would you? This is an actual trending hashtag. You can't change that. It's like crazy. So really, I think these people's days are numbered, and we are so ready for all this, or for this whole house of cards to come down. But I just really wanted to give you a little bit of an update. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Yeah, we may see some fireworks tomorrow, but in the meantime, just be patient, stay safe, stay sane, keep your vibration high, as I said before, and we will get through this together. All of us will get through this together. Exciting times ahead. Send you all lots of love and light.